What's up, boys and girls? We're here for another video review, and we're going to review Love is Strange.
Fantastic, both of you.
It's almost 11. George.
Yeah, I'm waiting for you.
I need cash for Eugenia.
You smell good too.
Thank you.
The movie starts off with two elderly gay men named Ben and George getting married in New York. Now, this marriage actually causes George, who was a long-time music teacher at a Catholic church, to be fired from his job. Since he's fired, they have less finances and they actually end up losing their apartment. So they have to move in with their friends and family. The thing is, they don't move in together. They move in separately. George moves in with two gay cops, and Ben moves in with his nephew's family.
The movie deals with the problem of being separated with somebody you've been accustomed to for decades, as in Ben and George's situation, nearly 40 years. And on the flip side of that, you have these families taking in two new personalities, trying to integrate them into their homes and all the little nuances and trying to make that work. One of the things we really liked about this movie was the restraint that these actors showed throughout the film, the portrayal of the conflict that they go through. They don't overact, they don't over dramatize what they're going through, and they're just real characters who you really sympathize with.
If you sell before 5 years.
It is 5 years. I mean, it's been 5 years. We bought in 2007, it's now 2013.
But Mr. Garea, you didn't actually close until January, if you remember.
The restraint is also shown in the story. They go through problems that aren't huge, world-ending problems. They have problems with their finances, they have problems with their home, they have problems where they live, they have problems with the relationships with their families, but these are very subtle, restrained, realistic problems that give this movie a very grounded, very down-to-earth feel to the whole thing, which makes you engage with it more. Another thing we really liked about this movie was it captures the essence of New York quite well. The movie starts off with the two elderly gay couple crossing the street, trying to hail a cab and trying to get to a different street to, find better luck getting that cab.
Another aspect that captured really well was not just, the climate of New York, but the individualistic impressions that these characters give. You have, the artistic outlet of Marisa Tomei being a writer and John Lithgow being, a painter. And then you have the musical teacher as well. But yet somehow they're all pretty successful in what they do, but they're still struggling, trying to find, the new apartment. None of them, they don't have a lot of money stocked away, and it just goes, it just really plays true, I feel like, from what I've heard and seen in New York, to that scene. One of the setbacks for me in this movie was John Lithgow. Not to say that he wasn't great, because he's pretty much great in everything he does, but I do feel like they underutilized him in this movie. He was a very one-note character who wasn't really in the way of anything, but he had a mild senility to him. He wasn't like somebody who seemed he was really all there at times. Not to say he was slow or dumb, but I just feel like he was just kind of there to give the movie kind of a heart. But knowing John Lithgow as an actor, he is extremely talented and he has an incredible range. And I felt like this movie definitely could have benefited if they would have utilized him a little more.
My French is a little rusty, but I got most of it. I know the play.
Frankly, who cares, Ben?
Those are the books.
You've been listening the whole time. You should have said something.
Kate, he didn't know.
Think I'm too nice to Joey?
Please.
Let me tell you, Elliot, you were too nice to your uncle. It's very easy being nice when you are not the one who's around all day.
One of the things we also didn't like about this movie was that it doesn't make you feel that much. The movie sets up certain things that you're supposed to feel, like sadness or frustration or anger, and it doesn't pay off that well. You don't feel that angry when he doesn't get approval on when he finds out that his house is being sold. You don't feel that angry when George is fired from his job. It was not as one tone as other movies that we've reviewed before, but at the same time, for a movie that goes through everyday problems with families and with friends and relationships and being a fish out of water, I really wanted the movie to make me feel stronger feelings while watching them, and it just didn't.
We feel the people who would enjoy this movie are fans of indie films that kind of introduce that slice of life aspect to it. Like we said before, this movie holds a lot of restraints with the acting, with the characters and their portrayals, and it's not so much Hollywood-esque when they're trying to tug on your emotional heartstrings. It really keeps you interested through your own interpretation. And if you enjoy that kind of thing, this is definitely the movie for you.
So for the people who might not like this movie are people who probably enjoy films that are a little bit more Hollywood-esque, Remember the Titans, Hidden Figures, something like that. This movie doesn't hold your hand to make you feel a certain way through the whole movie. You really have to pay attention, and you really have to interpret each scene and each pinnacle part of the movie by yourself.
I give this movie a 7.3. I do think that the strengths definitely outweigh the drawbacks of the film, but one of the strengths I think this movie could have benefited from is if they utilized John Lithgow a little more. He had more screen time than Alfred Molina, but I felt Alfred Molina had more of an arc. He showed a little bit more emotion, and that's exactly what I wanted from John Lithgow, since they're both going through this emotional roller coaster, this kind of uncertain time in their lives, and he's kind of just going with it. And like Ken said before, that's probably the director and the way it's written into the story, but I think it definitely could have helped the movie a lot if we saw a little bit more emotional resonance from not just John Lithgow, but other characters as well.
I give this movie a 7 out of 10. I love John Lithgow, and I love Alfred Molina as Doc Octopus, as everyone knows him, and the only movie everyone knows him for. But like I said, these two actors, like you said before, they were kind of underutilized, and I feel like they could have brought so much more to this film. This movie was laid out great with great actors, and it kind of underwhelmed me a little bit, but it was still it was still a good independent film.
Right.
Solid, kind of anti-Hollywood-esque, which is a type of films that we really like.
Yeah, we enjoy them.
But just missing certain parts from the characters, certain parts from the story, and also, like I said before, the emotional parts were just not there. And I've always harped on this every single time. And this movie doesn't really have that. Well, that was a review of Love is Strange. You should check it out if you feel compelled to from our review. If you have seen it, leave a comment below. Tell us what you thought about the video. Subscribe and comment. Support us if you can. Well, this is Black and Yellow Movies, and we're signing out with another independent and foreign video review. See you guys. What's up, boys and girls? This is Black and Yellow Movies, and we both separately saw Alien Covenant over the weekend. And
this is a little different than what we're doing. We usually do independent and foreign films, but we discussed this film and we decided, hey, we might as well do it.
Where is it?
I didn't get a lot of the satisfaction I got from Aliens, sometimes even Prometheus.